In 2014, in a quiet town in Central Europe, there stood a gray apartment building that nobody really paid attention to. On the fourth floor, in apartment 4B, lived a woman named Elena Voss, 34 years old, a librarian, quiet, organized, and unremarkable in every way her neighbors could describe. She left for work at the same time every morning. She bought groceries on weekends. She never complained, never made noise, never gave anyone a reason to think twice about her. But one cold November morning, her neighbor, an elderly woman named Mrs. Bachman, noticed an unusual smell in the stairwell. At first, she assumed it was a plumbing issue. By the next day, the smell had grown stronger. On the third day, she called the building manager. When they knocked on Elena's door, there was no answer, no sound from inside. The building manager called the police. When officers broke down the door, what they found wasn't just a body, it was a scene that didn't make sense. Elena was dead, but the apartment was spotless. Everything was in its place. On the kitchen table sat 2 cups of tea, both cold, both half finished, as if someone had visited, sat down, shared a quiet conversation, and then simply vanished. The autopsy revealed the first strange detail. Based on stomach contents and the state of the apartment, someone else had been living there with Elena for at least 48 hours before her death. A second toothbrush in the bathroom, a second set of slippers by the bed. Someone had stayed and used everything as if they belonged there. So who was this person? Detectives pulled Elena's phone records. In the week before her death, she had received multiple calls every day from an unknown number. A number traced back to a payphone on the other side of the city. No security cameras nearby. No way to identify who made the calls. Elena's co-workers at the library remembered her seeming distracted in her final weeks. She'd mentioned vaguely that an old friend had come back into her life, someone from her past, but none of them ever learned a name. Detectives began digging into Elena's history, and that's when they found something chilling. Back in 2008, during her university years, Elena had a roommate named Marta Lindqvist. One day, Marta simply disappeared. No note, no warning. At the time, police assumed she had left voluntarily. Maybe a breakup, maybe she just wanted a new life. The case was closed within weeks. Marta's family searched for years, but never found a single trace of her. Now, 6 years later, a mysterious second person had been living in Elena's apartment in the days before her death. Could it be Marta? Had she come back? Forensic teams found a partial fingerprint on the second teacup, but it didn't match anyone in the national database. It also didn't match Marta's old prints on file from a university ID application. Then came the detail that changed everything. In Elena's bedroom closet, behind a row of winter coats, police found a small wooden box. Inside were dozens of letters, handwritten, unsigned, spanning nearly 6 years. The earliest ones were dated just weeks after Marta's disappearance in 2008. The letters described, in eerie detail, things that only someone very close to Elena could know. Her daily routines, her fears, even private conversations she'd had with no one else. Some letters were warm, affectionate. Others, especially the more recent ones, were unsettling, possessive, almost desperate. One line from a letter dated just 2 months before Elena's death read simply, "I'm coming back. I never really left." Handwriting analysts compared the letters to samples of Marta's handwriting from her old university records. The match was inconclusive, close, but with subtle differences that could suggest either a different person entirely or someone whose handwriting had changed over 6 years of wherever they had been. The official cause of Elena's death was ruled as a rare cardiac event, nothing indicating foul play, no poison, no trauma, nothing the medical examiner could point to as a cause for suspicion. On paper, it looked like Elena had simply died of natural causes, in her own home, possibly while sharing tea with someone she knew. But if that's true, why did the second person never come forward? Why did they leave without calling for help, without leaving a name, without ever being seen? And where is Marta Lindqvist today? The case of Elena Voss remains officially closed. The cause of death, natural. The second occupant of apartment 4B never identified. The letters, still unexplained. Some say it was simply a private relationship Elena kept secret, an old friend, a quiet reunion, nothing more. Others believe the letters point to something far stranger, a person who vanished without a trace in 2008 and quietly reappeared in someone's life 6 years later, only to disappear again the moment things went wrong.